Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel and another episode of the Master Series where we're going to talk about Conquest Sector 5. For Sector 5, our sector feats are going to be to get 50 kills with Mandalorian units, 14 wins with 4 or more Imperial remnants, well 4 Imperial remnants, gain tenacity up 40 times, and inflict stun 100 times. Our mini-boss for this sector is going to be Bo-Katan, where we will need to win the battle with Boba Fett and Fennec Shan surviving, and win the battle with no bounty hunter units in our team. The main boss for the sector will be Moth Gideon, where we will need to win the battle with Bo-Katan and Beskar armor Mandalorian surviving, and win the battle using no Jedi, no Sith, and no unaligned Force users. For the 50 kills with Mandalorian units, we have two options. Our first option, if you do not have Maul unlocked, or if your Mandalorian faction isn't very good, would be to look at a Jedi Master Luke lead with Hermit Yoda and Wat Tambor, and then just plug in 2 Mandalorian units, maybe Jango Fett for the global feat of kills with Jango, or the Mandalorian or Bo-Katan, as both of those can be called to assist with Jedi Master Luke. Alternatively, if you do have Maul unlocked, you can use Maul lead with any 3 Mandalorian units, the Armorer, Bo-Katan, the Mandalorian, Jango Fett. Canderous is especially good for this, but the key point is having Wat Tambor. With Wat Tambor and Maul's starting the fight with Frenzy, you can put a tech onto anybody, but that's going to trigger Maul, and he will then go essentially first and can start his chain going. He'll take 4 turns. Each of those turns he's going to call all the Mandalorians in the team to assist. You can usually get 1 or 2 kills out of this team before the enemy team has even taken a turn. When looking at 14 wins with Imperial remnants, we have 2 options. Well, 3 options. Obviously, you have to have Moth Gideon, Dark Trooper, Death Trooper and Stormtrooper, as they are the only Imperial remnants. If you have a particularly fast Moth Gideon, I would be looking at 360 or above speed. You may be able to pair with a General Veers lead and get out in front of some of these teams, and then be able to cascade turns and win. Alternatively, you can try to leverage a Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, who is an individually powerful unit, and try and focus on getting kills versus weaker team compositions where Kylo can really go to town. But the best bet, and obviously most people isn't going to have this, is going to be Lord Vader lead with the 4 Imperial remnants, because Vader can virtually single-handedly destroy teams on his own in Sector 5. That's what I've been using on my main account, and it's pretty beautiful to watch, to be honest. When looking at the tenacity up and the inflicting stun feats, we can look to complete both of them with a Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker lead, Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, Grandmaster Yoda, Hermit Yoda and Wat Tambor. Wat Tambor is here to give you the taunt tech on Jedi Master Luke. Then you're just going to leverage the synergy between Grandmaster Yoda and Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker. Grandmaster Yoda applies tenacity up on battle meditation. Jedi Master Luke applies tenacity up on efflux. Jedi Knight Luke, he's going to do a stun on his first turn. Then when Grandmaster Yoda just loops a lot, he's going to eventually reset Luke's cooldowns through the passive turn meter gain. So you should be able to hopefully stun with Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker and also Grandmaster Yoda's second special, possibly 15 or so times per fight. So you should be able to rattle this off quite quickly. When we look at the mini-boss feats for the Bo-Katan fight, our first feat is to win the battle with Boba Fett and Fennec Shand surviving. I'm not going to lie to you guys, this feat is very difficult and I decided to skip it because I got frustrated trying things. But from what I've heard from other people who have completed it, this team can work. So that's Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, Jedi Master Luke Skywalker, Wat Tambor, Boba Fett and Fennec Shand. If you have the wiggle room in the maximum feat points, I would skip this feat if I were you. It's just not worth really the frustration of trying to complete it. Plus you'll just be wasting energy, and sometimes you can go down a rabbit hole of, oh, I was so close, try again, try again, try again. And before you notice it, you've dropped 100 energy where you could have just been spending that more efficiently somewhere else. But when we look to win the battle with no bounty hunters, we can go back to this core Jedi Knight Luke, Jedi Master Luke, Grandmaster Yoda, Wat Tambor and Hermit Yoda team. Worth noting, both of these battles are going to be much easier if you have a frenzy booster consumable, if you bought the battle pass, or if you check the Conquest store or the scavengers. You may notice that you can pick one up or even have one in your inventory. If you want an easier time here, I would recommend giving that a go. So the boss feats, Moth Gideon. I have a lot of opinions on this fight. One being that it is possibly the worst designed fight I've ever seen in SWGO. It is egregious at how bad this fight is. But there are some compositions that you can get to work. So, win the battle using no Jedi, Sith or unaligned Force users. This is tricky, I'm not going to lie to you. You will likely want to use any spare consumables you have, whether it's health up, the speed up consumable, very good. Frenzy consumable, very good. Crit damage consumable, very good. All of these things will help this team work. But what we're looking at is General Veer's lead, Admiral Piet, Moth Gideon, Dark Trooper as your core 4 characters. Then one of Colonel Stark, Death Trooper and Ranged Trooper. The idea here is that your team doesn't die before Piet takes a turn, because Piet's going to get turn meter from people being attacked. Once Piet takes a turn, Piet can use the buff onto one of your other characters, which is going to start your turn meter train going. Moth Gideon is going to, once he takes a turn, apply that debuff to the enemy team, drastically reduce their damage, and hopefully you can cascade enough turns where you can get kills and then keep cascading until you just win. Sometimes the way the mark is going to work and how it's going to shift over, that's not going to work in your favor. It's going to create problems. Maybe you don't get going. All of these things can make this a pain. It's an awful fight. But if you want to give it a go, if you want to really try and make it work, Veers, Piet, Gideon, Dark Trooper, and I would say Range Trooper, but Stark, also a good choice. Speed booster, crit damage booster, frenzy booster. for the win the battle with Bo-Katan and Beskar Mando surviving, this is the best team. Rey lead, Bo-Katan and Mando, Commander Ahsoka Tano, Vandor Chewbacca. If you want to make it as easy or as low RNG as possible, find a health booster consumable. I think it gives you plus 122% health. Makes this much, much easier. Between Rey's leadership, the health booster consumable, and the Commander Ahsoka Tano unique passive effect, you guys have a lot of health. What you're trying to do in this fight is keep the damage reduction buff onto Vandor, so Vandor isn't going to die, because once Vandor has his buff, anytime that Bo, Mando or Ahsoka die, he's going to passively revive them, greatly reducing your chance of Bo or Beskar, Armor, Mando dying during the fight. You're going to basically delay until Cat can delete someone who isn't Moth Gideon. Rey can use the ultimate. Really, you want to use it sparingly. You want to keep it for when your team's looking a bit rough and they need a bit of time to recover. Then you can put the damage, the essential damage immunity up from Rey. You don't want to whirlwind, especially on the Stormtrooper when they have high protection, because it's not going to kill someone. I had to whirlwind a Stormtrooper 3 times before he eventually died. So it's just being smart with how you're going to use your Beskar Armor Mando heals and damage immunities, your Rey's ultimate, and your Cat whirlwind, and just keep the team going and going and going. And eventually, once you whittle the enemy down, you'll just grind them out. It's a very good team for doing it. I haven't seen another team that actually works. So when we look at the breakdown for Sector 5 and how many fights we're going to do, I think this isn't 100% optimal and it can be done a bit faster. I haven't properly crunched all of the numbers here, but as you can see, we're looking at about 33 fights. You are capped that you have to do 14 fights with Imperial remnants, and being realistic, you have to do 50 kills with Mandalorian units, so 10 fights. You know, that can be brought down by getting lucky with a Night Sister node, a Bounty Hunter node, etc, etc, but we like to look at the realistic solution, which is 10 fights. You're looking at about another 5 fights for the stun feat. I know I quoted about 15 stuns per fight, but you're going to get some extra stuns from the double mini boss nodes where you're using the same team for the stun feat. And then you're going to look at 2 more for the 2 boss fights you need to do. So at your realistic best case scenario, you are going to be looking at 33 fights for this sector. Hopefully you found this video useful and it's going to help you make the best progress through Sector 5. I know this Conquest particularly feels like a kick in the gut, even for me who has a pretty good account. I found it quite difficult, quite stressful compared to the previous Conquests. But if you did find it useful, please like, comment and subscribe. Please share it with your arena shards, your guilds, your friends, and feel free to join my Discord server, which is linked in the description. I'm going to be looking at making a video before the second round of this Conquest format comes out, where we can look at making a optimal approach at how we're going to progress through the sectors and progress all of those really grindy global feats efficiently, so we don't have problems when we come into the latter half of the second week in, oh, how are we going to actually clean up some of these feats. That's going to take me a little bit of while to get around to, but hopefully I'll have that out later this week or next week. Thanks very much, guys, and hope to see you for the next video.